So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Hey, welcome you back here at BSN. This is the BSN podcast here today. It is Friday, September 25th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. I know I'm having a good day and had a good rest of my day yesterday. Hopefully you did as well. We got a lot of sports to get to today. NFL game picks, a little Yankees news. Yankees got crushed again, or not really crushed, but they lost again last night. They're struggling. They seem to be struggling. And we're kind of not tanking, but we're kind of in that playoff mode, which means we're sitting a lot of players. If you look at the relievers, we're not putting in our top star relievers, top star players. We're kind of sitting a lot of people. We're kind of, our starting pitching, isn't amazing. Montgomery was out there on the mound, but other than that, it's kind of 3 games left here. You got a game tonight, but other than that, you got those 3 games left. You kind of just ease into the playoffs is what I think the Yankees' plan is. But the NFL game picks we got today, so these are the topics. This is Football Friday, so a ton of football on today. Game picks, college game picks, NFL game picks, fantasy football, Yankees, Mets, Stanley Cup, all that good stuff coming up on the podcast. We got the NFL game picks, Jets and the Giants. Fantasy football overview. I'll tell you who you could start, who you shouldn't. Players that you could pick up off the waiver wire if players are injured, questionable players if they're going to play or not. I'll give you all that news in the second topic. Then we have the Yankees, Mets, and Stanley Cup college football game picks, and Miami to all talk about in the final topic. So Fridays, I've always said this, are packed. Fridays are always packed. Game picks, we talk about last night's game. So Fridays are packed. Let's just put it at that, people. So with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So last night I did get my first game pick wrong of the season, or first game pick of the week wrong. I did get it wrong. It was Dolphins, Jaguars. I had Jaguars winning 28-24. The Dolphins won 31-13. To really explain this game and sum it up, Gardner Minshew struggled. There was really no other way of saying it. Gardner Minshew struggled, and it was a big loss for them. Now, I'll tell you what, my guy, James Robinson, my running back, who I'm now definitely 100% going to hang on to, had 24 points. And if you go back in my podcast yesterday and watch it, I said I will be happy if he gets me 11 points. I don't think he's getting me over 16 points. He got me 24 points. Phenomenal performance by him. He had 2 touchdowns, had just an amazing game, got me 24 points. Just absolutely insane. Almost hit 30 for a running back, which is just absolutely insane. I'm winning 24-0 now, and now is projected to win. So very, very, very exciting news for me. But other than that, it was not a great game. Let me just get it up here. It was not a great game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They really struggled. They lost by big. They lost. They really struggled. They were not able to really. I think they were just struggling early. They weren't able to get their footing, I think, down. They struggled early and continued to struggle. They weren't, the Dolphins drove on them quickly. They drove down the field twice and are quickly right down the field twice. That first drive, I think they only faced 1 third down, and it was like a 3rd down and 2. They were just stomping on that Jaguars defense in the first drive. Then they stomped on them again. You're talking, this was a 21-7 game going into the half, and then it was 28-7 going into the third quarter, and it was kind of just, one of those things where, I was sitting there watching the game last night, and I was like, yeah, 28-7 in the fourth quarter, yeah, this ain't happening. So, obviously they ended up scoring again, and then the kicker, and I said this yesterday, it could turn into a problem. They don't have Lambeau as their kicker. He's not their kicker. He's injured, so they had to put in their backup, who then missed the kick, but it really didn't matter anyway. But that's what I said. I said it's actually big because I thought that game was going to be close, and I thought it could very well come down to a kick. But sure enough, the Jaguars did not, he missed it, but it didn't mean anything. It's whether or not you lose by 18 or you lose by 17. So they lost 31-13. Dolphins put in just kicked a field goal in the fourth quarter, in the fourth quarter to kind of just put the icing on the cake, I guess you could kind of say. The Jaguars came out flat and the Dolphins came out rolling is really the story of this game. And I think that's clear. I think that was very clear and obvious. I mean, they came out flat. Their defense was getting absolutely stomped on. I mean, I'm not even kidding. 14-0 coming out of that first quarter, the way the Dolphins were playing, I was like, yeah, this game's over. This game's over. I mean, I was really just rooting for James Robinson. But when you come out of that first quarter and you score 14 points and the Jaguars' offense just looked dead and their defense just looked dead, both things on their team just do not look good. Like, I was like, yeah, the Dolphins are winning this game. Now, I don't think the Dolphins are that bad of a team. I think they're very well coached. I think Brian Flores is going to do very good things with them. I just did not think the Dolphins would come out and be that dominant. I just did not see that see that happening because the strength of that Jaguars team is actually their defense. That's the strength. That is the strength of that team is their defense. But their defense just didn't show up yesterday. I mean, their offense didn't either, but it's also tough to, I mean, they would have had to score like 30-something point. They would have had at least score 32 points, and their offense didn't show up, but their defense, didn't show up either. Their defense, I mean, we're talking 14-0 coming out of the first quarter. I mean, the first drive, the offense couldn't do anything about that first drive. They just stomped all over them, and the Jaguars' defense actually strengthened that team. Fitzpatrick looked amazing. I mean, he just looked amazing. 18 of 20, and he only missed 2 throws. 18 of 20, 160 yards, 8.9 was his average, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 sack, rating of 133.2. Minshew looked pretty bad. Minshew did not look good. 30 of 42, 275 yards, 9.2 was average, no touchdowns, 1 pick, 4 sacks, 79 rating against what a lot of people think is most rankings have them as the 31st best defense in the NFL, which is AKA the second worst defense in the NFL. So I thought for sure the Jaguars were going to come out and win that game, but I was wrong. But in a way, too, I was wrong. But last week I was wrong on the Thursday night pick. I started off 0-1 and I ended up finishing 13-3. So this week's kind of the same thing. Starting off 0-1, do I finish 13-3 again? We'll see. James Robinson had 11 attempts for 46 yards, 4.2 was average, 2 touchdowns, 11 was long. And then he also had a couple nice catches, 6 targets, 6 receptions, 83 yards, 13.8 was average, 24 was long. So he was able to really, really dominate. He got 24 points in my fantasy league, which was very good. It was actually a good running back matchup last night. For 2 not big name players, it was actually a solid running back thing last night. I mean, Myles Gaskin had 22 attempts for 66 yards, but he in the early drive was really going. He had 66 yards, 3 yards was average, but he had a lot of good things going for him early on in the game. He was really finding open lanes early on in the game. I mean, you saw as long as 15. He was really able to find open lanes early on in the game. So, obviously, other than that, though, the Jaguars looked pretty bad. The Jaguars behind James Robinson really did not look bad. You could tell Minshew missed DJ Chark. I mean, you look at the amount of times he targeted some of his receivers and they just dropped them. Look, 5 targets. Look, like right here, 8 targets to Chris Conley, only 3 receptions. That means 5 times he was not able to catch the ball. Same thing here. Even just some like right there, Chris Conley, he was targeted them. He targeted Chris Conley the most 8 times, and he just could not catch the ball. I remember watching that game. He was open a couple times. He just couldn't hang on to the ball. Minshew's receivers didn't help him. You could tell he missed DJ Chark. He was trying to spread out the ball to a receiving core behind DJ Chark. So, he struggled. Minshew played bad. Jaguars offense looked pretty flat outside of James Robinson. I'm not just saying that just because he's on my fantasy team. I'm looking at the stat line. Outside of James Robinson, their offense looked flat. Their defense looked flat. Jaguars looked flat. They got crushed. They lose 8-18, and the Dolphins win. Moved to 1-2 on the season. Jaguars fall to 1-2 on the season. So 0-1 on my first game pick of week 1 there. Never great to start off 0-1, but I'm kind of optimistic that the same thing's going to happen like it did last week. So now let's get into our full week 3 game picks after talking about last night's game. Let's go on to our full week 3 game picks. Here we go. So the Jets and Colts and the Giants and Niners I'll preview after I do all my game picks. You know that. But let's get into it. Here we go. Game pick number 1. The 0-2 Falcons are home against the 2-0 Chicago Bears. The over-under is 47.5, and the Falcons are 3.5-point favorites. Okay. A lot of people, and I understand this, a lot of people, are hating on the Falcons. I mean, they're 0-2. They're in the category with the Jets. They're in the category with the Detroit Lions. They're in the category with the Philadelphia Eagles. 0-2 teams, like the bad 0-2 teams. Like, the bad 0-2 teams right now are the Eagles, the Lions, the Jets, the Giants. At least the Giants are being competitive. The really bad 0-2 teams are the Eagles, the Jets, and the Lions. You could say, oh, the Bengals, but look, the Bengals in both of their games, the Bengals, they missed the field goal, and they ended up losing on that missed field goal, okay? And they held, and they only lost by 5 points. The Bengals have been in every single game they've played. The two games, the Chargers game and then the Browns game, they were in both of those games. So you can't say the Bengals are a bad 0-2. The Eagles were 17-0, and they absolutely blew the lead. They weren't in that game, really. That Redskins game, they were in the first half, and they got absolutely trampled in the second half. So you can't really say they played well that game. Then against the Rams, they got absolutely blown out of water. So the Falcons have been in both of their games. I mean, the Seahawks game wasn't great, but, Matt Ryan has looked very good. Believe me, he has looked very good. He's one of my fantasy quarterbacks. He's my backup now. He has looked very good. Very, very good. He goes up against a good Chicago Bears defense. Do I think the numbers might decline a bit? Possibly. You also got to look at his receivers. Calvin Ridley's had an amazing start to the season. Julio Jones has had an amazing start, or not amazing, but is a decent start of the season. Look at his two receivers, right? The Bears, on the other hand, barely slipped past the Giants, barely got past the Lions. Trubisky doesn't look horrible, but still shaky. I give the Falcons the win here. I say they win 3.5. I have them covering. I say they win this game 31-21. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. They do hit the 30s, the Falcons, but I mean, look, yesterday last week they were 1 point away from hitting 40. I think the Bears have a decent, because the Falcons defense is absolutely horrific. So I actually think this will be like a 31-21 game. Falcons win by 10, and I take the under on the over-under. Actually, over, right? Because that's 52, yeah. So, over on the over-under of 47.5. Falcons win 31-21. Next up, we got the Bengals and the Eagles. The Eagles coming in as game as 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is 47. A lot of people might disagree with me on this pick, but I have the Bengals winning. You might absolutely just fall off your chair right now after I just said this. Okay, the Bengals, according to most people, are not going to win this game. The reason I have the Bengals is, have you seen the Eagles play? Wentz has thrown 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. He's thrown 4 interceptions already this season. He looks bad. Receiving core looks shaky. Dallas Goedert and Ertz is shaky. Ertz, I feel like the job might be turning over to Dallas Goedert now. Miles Sanders is the only really bright spot on that offense, I would say. Wentz has looked poor at best. Wentz has played bad. Sanders has played good. I mean, he only played one game because he was out the first game, or I think he was out the first game, so you really can't judge him off of everything. But his first game, he played good. Receiving core hasn't been anything special. Ertz, Dallas Goedert, I feel like there's a little bit of chippiness there. I feel like the job is turning more over to Goddard now. But that's interesting. It should be interesting. And the Bengals were in both of their games they played. I mean, the Bengals were in against the Browns. The Bengals were in it against the Chargers. They lost both games, but they were in it. The Eagles have not been competitive. I mean, they were not competitive against the Rams. They were not. They got crushed. I think it was like 37-19. You lost by what? 18 there or whatever, I think something like that. You got absolutely demolished. I mean, they looked flat on offense. Their defense has not been playing well. All around, the Eagles have looked flat, and I think the Bengals come out and actually win this game. I think it's going to be close. I give the Bengals the win 24-21. I think the Bengals win by 3. I think it might be actually one of the game-winning field goals or something. I think the Bengals win by 3, and I take the 24-21. I take the 45, I take the under then. Sorry, I'm not great at math. I take the under, 24-21, Bengals win in Philadelphia. Eagles move to 0-3, and I'm not even kidding, and I might sound outrageous for saying this. I know I say that a lot on this podcast, but I'm not even kidding. If the Eagles lose this game and Wentz throws like 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown, you seriously have to think about possibly giving Jalen Hurts a chance. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. Wentz has just not lived up to expectations. I mean, Wentz just this season, what has he done? If Wentz throws like 2-3 picks against a not great Bengals defense, the Bengals defense is not good at all. But Joe Burrow is promising. AJ Green is okay, but Boyd's played well. John Ross played well. T. Higgins has a couple nice catches. Burrow's got a good supporting cast. Wentz doesn't, and Wentz also just does not look good. So If Wentz throws another if Wentz has another 3 interception, like 1 touchdown game, and we're sitting here talking about Wentz having 7 interceptions and 3 touchdowns, you severely have to think about actually putting in Jalen Hurts. I'm not even kidding. If you start off the season 0-3, and actually, who do the Eagles play next? I'm just going to want to see this. They play the Niners next on Sunday Night Football, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but Garoppolo is supposed to be out a little bit with that ankle injury. You might be able to slip one past them, but still. And then the Bengals, if they win this game, the Bengals play the Jaguars next. I'm not even kidding. If the Bengals win this game and they play the Jaguars next, they could very well be sitting 500 by week 5. There's a very good chance of that. But let's move on from this game. I have the Bengals winning. I take the under 24-21. Bengals win. Take the under on the over-under. Next up, we got the Patriots and the Raiders. The over-under is 47.5. Raiders coming in this game 2-0. Patriots 1-1. Patriots are 5.5-point favorites. I have the Patriots winning this game. Okay, I know a lot of people. I'm not really buying into this whole Raiders, John Gruden, Las Vegas whole playoff, gonna win a division type thing. I'm not really buying into that. I think the Raiders are a decent team with a couple good players. Darren Waller, solid. Josh Jacobs, solid. There's only a couple good players on that team that are really good. Josh Jacobs, very good. Darren Waller, very good. Carr's average, but I think I'm not buying into this whole Henry Ruggs is gonna have a good career. I'm not buying into this whole, not gonna buy into this whole John Gruden upsetting Belichick in New England, Cam Newton. Like, I'm not buying into all that. I think the Raiders lose this game. I think the Patriots win. I think they win pretty easily. It might be a little bit of a close game. I think the Patriots win by like a touchdown. I'm gonna say like 28-21 to 35-28, something like that. I think it's going to be like 28-21. I think they win by like a touchdown. And if that score is the case, then I'll take the over on the over-under 47.5. I'm iffy with the Raiders. I know they're 2-0. I understand they beat a team who a lot of people think could very well make the Super Bowl in the New Orleans Saints. I understand, but they also beat the Michael Thomas-less Saints. And Drew Brees has struggled tremendously without Michael Thomas. It shows in his stats. He's missing Michael Thomas. He's missing him a lot. He's spreading out the ball so much. He just doesn't know what to do because he doesn't have Michael Thomas there. So they did beat them. They beat up a banged-up Saints team. And the week 1, I forget who they played week 1, but obviously whoever they played week 1, they beat the Panthers. So they beat a bad Panthers team. They beat a Panthers team that is struggling, not the rebuilding Panthers team, and they beat a Michael Thomas-less Saints team. So I'm not going to buy into this whole they're going to beat the Patriots. If they beat the Patriots and they move to 3-0, okay. You want to know why I'm not buying into this whole stuff? Almost the same roster as last year. And last year, we bought into it. I kind of bought into it last year. When they beat the Chargers last year, and they were sitting at like 6-3, 5-3, something like that, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, the Raiders have a chance of making the wild card. Like, they actually have the chance of having home field advantage for the wild card. Their next, 5 games this season, they went, 1-5, and they ended up finishing, 7-9, 6-10. Everybody was buying into that whole thing, and then they ended up just absolutely just going downhill after that. So, this kind of, I feel like, might be similar. They start off 3-0. Okay, then maybe I start to buy into a little bit because you have a key win, right? The Saints, you could say, is a key win, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say this because I like Josh Jacobs, I like Darren Waller. I'm not hating on the Raiders. I just don't really know if this is a team with the whole skill set. I just don't really know if this is the team yet to really be like, okay, this is a team that could go to Foxborough and beat the Patriots, go to this where and beat this team. Don't know if that's that team quite yet. They're good, not like the Patriots. I think the Patriots win this game. Next up, we got the Rams and the Bills. This is one of my most difficult picks of the week. This is a pick that I've been really, really examining. I've been kind of 1 minute I'm saying the Rams will win, the next minute Bills, 1 minute Rams, next minute Bills win, Rams, Bills, Rams, Bills, Rams. I've kind of been I've kind of been iffy with it. I've kind of been in the middle of this one, and I still am not entirely sure who I'm going to pick, but I know who I'm going to pick. I'm just not 100% certain if I think this is the right pick. I just think this is going to be such a good game. I think it's going to be a crazy close game. Bills are 2.5-point favorites. Rams are the over-under is 46.5. Both teams coming in as 2-0. I mean, I'm not even kidding. The Rams win this game. They're 3-0. They're booming. The Bills win. Whoever wins this game could very well be top 3 team in the NFL. I mean, the Bills, I think, are in most power rankings are top 5. right now in the NFL. I mean, if Josh Allen, and he's on a national stage, he's on Fox, if Josh Allen gets some national recognition, I mean, Josh Allen's had thrown 6 touchdowns and no interceptions so far, people. If Josh Allen adds another 300-400 touchdowns on this game, and he's throwing 10 touchdowns already, he could very well be in the talk for a top 5 quarterback this season if he has another big game. I think he'll have a good game. I think it's going to be a very, very, very good game. I have the Rams winning, and the only reason I have this is because I think the Rams' defensive front is, I think the Rams' defense overall, is better than the Bills. I think the Bills have probably the best secondary in the NFL. Their run defense is choppy, though. The Rams with Sebastian Day, with Aaron Donald up front, and then you still have Jalen Ramsey and guys like that in the secondary. Their defense overall is more complete, I think, than the Bills. And that's what I think the decision-making of this game is. I think the Rams win this game 28-27. I think it's going to be very close. I very well think the Bills might miss a kick. And they might, the Bills might have like 28-24. They kick a field goal. And I think this game's going to be 28-27. The Rams win. It's going to be a close game. I think I could very well see this game for sure going into overtime. I think it's going to be a close game. I think both these teams, you look at the offenses, they're similar. Look at the defenses, they're very similar. I think the only thing that propels me here is that the Rams have a very good secondary, so do the Bills, but I think the Rams' defense out-edges the Bills overall. The Bills have probably the best secondary in the NFL. You look at their run defense. Look at the Rams' run defense. Rams' defensive front, much better than the Bills. And the Bills' secondary is very good, but the Rams' secondary is not far behind them. The Bills' defensive front and their run defense is pretty far behind the Rams. Talking about people think one of the best defenders in all football and Aaron Donald on the Bills, or on the Rams defensive front. So, have to watch out there. And the Bills offensive line, too, isn't the greatest. They're okay, but they might have a handful with Aaron Donald. So, you got to watch out with that. So, with all that being said, Rams win this game. I think it's going to be a very good game. And I'm actually glad the Jets play at 4 o'clock here, because I will probably watch this game before the Jets game, because I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. Like, this game, I think, could very well be one of the better games, this weekend. I mean, I really think it is. I probably will watch this game and the Giants game, probably, flip back and forth very, very possibly from this game. And then the Jets game comes on at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I'll be able to watch the 1 o'clock games, then turn on the Jets game. So, it's going to be a very good game. This, I think, by far is probably one of the best games so far this year, meaning skill-wise. You could say this Texans-Chiefs game was good, but a lot of people have lost their belief in the Texans. So I guess hindsight 2020, that game wasn't the best. But if you get what I'm saying, I really believe the Bills and the Rams, this might be the game of the year so far. So far. People could say the Buccaneers Saints, but it's going to be a good game, people. You're talking about two teams that are surprisingly insane. The people knew the Rams were going to be decent and the Bills were going to be good, but the way these two teams have came out in the first 2 weeks of the season, just unbelievable. It's going to be a very good game. Next up, we got the Texans and the Steelers. I spent 10 minutes talking about that game. Next up, we got the Texans and the Steelers. Steelers coming as 4-point favorites. Texans over under 45. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. I think they'll take care of business. I know a lot of people are on the Texans train and I'm kind of on it too. They played the two best teams. A lot of people thinking all the NFL who match up on Thursday night or Monday night with a little Chiefs-Ravens action. I really believe that it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be 28-24, 31-24, something like that. I think the Texans will win, or the Steelers will win. I take the over. I think it's going to be 31-24. I take the over. Like I said, I'm kind of on the side of the Texans. I'm 50-50. I'm kind of on the side of the Texans. Played the Ravens and the Chiefs, who a lot of people think are arguably the best teams in the league, and their first game was against the Chiefs. That's kind of difficult to go out there and play against the defending Super Bowl champions your first game. That's kind of be oh, whoa, guess what? Our first game's against the Chiefs. How about that, right? I'm also kind of on a train of Watson really is missing Hopkins. I really do believe that. I think he really is missing Hopkins big time. So I'm kind of on both. I'm kind of 50-50. I got one leg on one train and the other on the other. I'm kind of in the middle of the train track, kind of figuring out what train I completely want to jump on, but I'm kind of 50-50. I think it's also because Watson, the stats have tremendously decreased, and the Chiefs don't have the best defense in the world either without D-Hop. And you look what Kyler Murray's doing with D-Hop. I really think it is D-Hop. So, but the Steelers, I do give them the win. And with that being said, that would be I take the over on the over-under 45. Next up, we got the, by the way, that Rams game, I take the over of the over-under, right? 28-27. Yeah, so I take the over there. So, so now we have the Titans-Vikings. The Titans and the Vikings. Vikings come in as 49, over-under is 49.5. Titans come in as 2.5-point favorites. The Vikings have looked miserable, awful, atrocious, every bad word you could say. Atrocious, bad, miserable, ugly. The Vikings have checked off all those boxes, okay? They lost their first game, and their first game was against the Packers, who a lot of people think could very well make another run for it, which, okay, that's understandable. But then you play against a team like the Colts. I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't think the Colts are very good. I mean, they'll look very good this week against the Jets, but the Colts have competed in both games. But then you play a team like the Colts, and you really just, Kirk Cousins looked awful. I mean, their offenses look shaky. Kirk Cousins looked awful. Thielen hasn't been amazing. Cook's been the only bright spot, I think, on that whole team. Their defense just looks rusty. So I have the Titans winning this game. I think the Titans look very good. Offense look very good. Tannehill's look very good. Henry's look pretty good. So I think they win again. Jonnu Smith has been like almost Tannehill's new secret weapon. Jonnu Smith has amazing the first 2 weeks of the season. Jonnu Smith's been amazing for the Titans. So I feel like that's in a way his new favorite target. So Titans win this game. I give the Titans win by big. I think the Titans win like 35-17. I really do. And I take the over then, right? So that's... Yeah, I take the over on the over-under of 49. I think the Titans win this game. I mean, I really do. I mean, they've looked ugly. They've looked ugly at best. And right. They've looked ugly at best. I mean, it's the truth, though. They've looked pretty bad. I think I take the over on the over-under of I take the over-under 49.5. I think they win like 35-17. I mean, the Vikings' offenses look choppy, and their defenses looked even worse. So, Titans win this game. Next up, we got the Redskins and the Browns. The Browns come in as the 7-point favorites, over-under 44.5. I have the Browns winning this game. I don't know if we are going to all buy into this Washington football team stuff. They won their first game, lost their last game. Now they play another team like the Browns. I think the Browns win this game. I think it'll be actually a decently reasonable game. I think the Browns win like something like maybe 31-17, 31-21, 28-14, something like that. I don't think it's going to be a crazy blowout. I don't think it's going to be crazy close. I think it's going to be somewhere like a 31-21 game, which means I would take the 31-21, which means I would take the over on the over-under of 44.5. Browns win this one. Browns move to 2-1 on the season, I think. Next up, we got the Chargers and the Panthers. Chargers come in 6.5-point favorites, over under 43.5. Chargers, I say win. I mean, the Chargers look good under Herbert. 6.5-point favorites. Chargers look good under Herbert. He's going to start again this week. They look good under Herbert. The Panthers have looked decent. They've been in their games, but not able to figure out a way to win late in both their games. So I think the Chargers win this game. I think it's actually relatively close. I think the Chargers coming off of last week, I think they'll be pretty amped up. But I think the Panthers have the offense has played pretty well, and so is the Chargers. So I actually say this is actually going to be a pretty high-scoring game. I'm going to say the Chargers win like 31-28. I think like 31-24, 31-24. We'll give it a 55. So I take the over under 43.5. And then the Chargers offense looked pretty crisp. I mean, there's definitely a couple plays. I mean, Herbert made that big mistake. This is a rookie mistake. Darnold made this mistake many times in his rookie year. He could have ran straight for the first down. Instead, he decided to force a throw and triple covered across the middle, and it wasn't completed. He was trying to look for Keenan Allen, which is probably their best receiver, but wasn't completed. So that kind of really costed them the game there. But the Chargers and the Panthers, I think they'd be a 31-24. Chargers win. They cover. They move to 2-1 on the season. Next up, we got the Buccaneers and the Broncos. Buccaneers coming in as 5.5-point favorites. Broncos are over-under is 43. Broncos are going to be going out there battling with Drew Driscoll and Blake Bortles. Their newly acquired quarterback, Blake Bortles, off of free agency. The Broncos are going in there hurt. No Cortland Sutton. No Drew Lock. Already don't have Von Miller. He was done for the season before the season even started, right? You don't have Drew Lock now. You got Drew Driscoll and Blake Bortles. You're 0-2. Sadly, I think this is going to be another bad season for the Broncos. I think the Buccaneers win this game. I think they win by big. I just don't think Driscoll, some people are buying into this whole Driscoll Minshew thing. Meaning like Driscoll's going to turn into the Minshew, a younger quarterback that's just going to light it up. Just don't foresee that happening. Broncos, I think, lose big. I think it's going to be like 31-14. I just don't think they can generate any offense. I think it's 45. I take the over on the over-under. And you know how bad I think you know how I feel about the Buccaneers. I don't think they're all that good. But the Broncos are playing literally with an arm left. They've got about an arm left, and that's it. So they're playing on one arm and one leg. So the Broncos are playing hurt. And you could say the same thing about the Niners, but you could say the same thing about the Niners, same thing about the Broncos. They're playing with about an arm and a leg. So that's really all that's remaining. I think the Buccaneers win this game pretty easily. They move to 2-1 on the season. This is the America's game of the week. Seahawks, Cowboys. Seahawks come in 2-0. Cowboys come in 1-1. 4.5-point favorites are the Seahawks. Over-under is 57. 57. Hold on a second. 57? I understand the Actually, that makes sense. It's going to be a shootout. I just realized something. This is Russell Wilson versus the Cowboys defense. This is Russell Wilson, probably the MVP frontrunner right now, versus the Cowboys defense. Who, after last week's game, I kind of made a bold prediction. I think the Cowboys defense could very well be the worst in the league. Okay? I have the Seahawks winning this game, but I have it actually being a shootout. I have the Seahawks winning this game 42-35. Seahawks win. And it's going to be a shootout. When I saw the over-under of 57.5, it didn't register for a second, but then I saw, wait, hold on a second. This is Russell Wilson versus the Cowboys defense. Yeah. They win this game. The Seahawks win this game 42-35. I say 42-35. They win this game. No defense. Seahawks win. Take the over on the over-under of 57. Seahawks win by 7. 42-35, I think it will be the final score. Next up, we got the Lions. That's funny. You go from 60 over under 57 to Lions Cardinals. The over under is 55.5. Cardinals are 5.5-point favorites. I think the Cardinals win this game big, and they win 35-14. I think it's a big win for the Cardinals. I take the under on the over under. 35-14, I think they'll take the under on the over-under 55.5. I think Kyler Murray throws like 3 touchdowns at D-Hop. I think D-Hop has another huge game. Cardinals win. They move to 3-0, and the surprising Cardinals will be 3-0 and hopping right into where they play. Forget who they play next week, but if the Cardinals win this game, hold on a second. If the Cardinals win this game, they'll be 3-0. Who do they play next week? They play the Panthers. The Cardinals could very well be 4-0 going into that Jets game. And then they have to play the Jets. The Cardinals going into week 6 might be 5-0. And then they play... Then who do they play? Okay, then they play the Cowboys, which might be interesting. But they very well could be going... They very well could be 5-0 going into week 6. Because after this week, they play the... After this week, they play the Panthers, which is definitely a winnable game for them. If they win this week, this is a winnable game. They could be 3-0. Then if they win against the Panthers, that's 4-0, and they could very easily beat the Jets. That's 5-0. So hold on a second. The Cardinals might be 5-0. Cardinals may actually start off the season 5-0. It's a pretty weak schedule, though. Their first real competition will be the Cowboys, because look who they've played so far. Actually, no. Niners. They beat the Niners. They upset the Niners. How could I forget about that? So they beat the Niners. Then they beat the Redskins. And then now they're more than likely, I think they're going to beat the Lions. And if they beat the Panthers, they might be 5-0 going to that Cowboys game. Oh my gosh, the Cardinals may be. Cardinals and the Seahawks. Whew. That's going to be fun. Cardinals win this game, but that's going to be interesting. I just realized that because I remember the Cardinals played the Jets. So that's an automatic win. But then, whew, wow. So the Cardinals... Wow. All right. So Cardinals might be 5-0. If they go right and they're not looking ahead, which they could very well get caught looking ahead, and I'm actually hoping this happens against the Jets, because then they have a big primetime Monday night game against the Cowboys that next week. So they could get caught looking ahead. The Cardinals have to make sure they don't get caught looking ahead. Cardinals might be sitting at 5-0, people. That would be crazy. Next up, we got the Packers and the Saints. By the way, I have the Cardinals winning 35-14. I take the under. Packers win, or Packers... I just spoiled my... Dropped my pen. Everything that could have went wrong there just went wrong. I spoiled the pick and I dropped my pen at the same time. So the Packers, Saints Saints are 3-point favorites. Over-under is 52.5. I kind of already spoiled my pick. Before I even said the matchup, I said Packers win. So I do think the Packers will win. The Saints look bad. Looks like Michael Thomas is going to play again. Drew Brees has looked rusty. Rodgers, Devontae, if that's a healthy combo. If Devontae's healthy. Aaron Jones, Valdez-Scantling, solid Packers defense. I don't foresee the Saints winning this game. They look bad against a bad Raiders. They look bad against a not great Raiders defense. And Michael Thomas, they're only playing against a better team defense without Michael Thomas again. So, more than likely without Michael Thomas, it seems. So, the Packers, I think they win this game. And I think they actually win big. I think the Packers win 38-24. And I will take the over on the over-under. Right? No, because 38... I take the over on the over-under. Sorry, I'm not good at math, people. So I take the over on the over-under of 52.5. I take the over. I think the Packers win 38-24. I think the Packers are going to win. I think the Packers will win. Actually, you know what? No. Past 38-21. 38-31 maybe. I think actually 38-31. I think the Packers will win maybe by a little bit more. Maybe that. But yeah. So I think with a healthy Devontae Adams, Packers win by with 30. Without a healthy Devontae Adams, it's like a 28-24 game. Because Devontae Adams will make a big difference there. So I have the Packers winning that game. I take the over on the over-under of 52.5. Then the Chiefs-Ravens, the Monday night game. I will preview that game on Monday. You already know. So these are my game picks. I'll review them like 3 times just so then you know. These are my game picks. Falcons winning, Bengals winning, Patriots winning, Rams winning, Steelers winning, Titans winning, Browns winning, Chargers winning, Buccaneers winning, Seahawks winning, Cardinals winning, and then the Packers winning. So those are my game picks. I'll just read them through one more time. I just like to nail it down so then there's no controversy. If there's a game that I picked right and I say if there's a game that I just try to do it so then there's no controversy over no you didn't pick this team. So this is my picks again. Falcons winning, Bengals winning, Patriots winning, Rams winning, Steelers winning, Titans winning, Browns winning, Chargers winning, Buccaneers winning, Seahawks winning, Cardinals winning, and then the Packers winning. Chargers winning, by the way. Did I say Cardinals on Chargers? Chargers winning, and then the Cardinals winning, and then obviously the Packers winning as well. So now, with all that being said, let's move into the Week 3 preview for the New York Jets. Obviously, I spend a little bit more time on these games just because I do talk about New York sports. So the over-under for this game comes in at 44, and the Colts are 11.5-point favorites. So you could just go to show you how much disrespect they think the Jets are getting, and I agree with I agree with them disrespecting the Jets. I think the Jets are the worst team in the NFL. I hope we win this game just to give us something to root about because there hasn't been much to cheer about. The only thing I've been able to really look at the Jets team and be like, this guy's good is Mekhi Becton. He's been nothing but stellar, and he's actually, a lot of people think, exceeding expectations. It's been absolutely stellar for us. That's the only good thing. I've actually find myself, after the game, I find myself, this might be odd, but when I'm looking through the after the game stats, I find myself just wondering, how in the world did Mekhi Becton do? And I look you can look the pressures and stuff. You can also look how many sacks how many sacks endured. I find myself looking at the sack numbers a lot. How many sacks did Donald get this game? Only 1? Okay. And then, I find myself really being Mekhi Becton have a good game. I find myself just being the New York Mekhi Bectons. I find myself really paying attention to Mekhi Becton a lot. Not during the game, meaning just after the game when I'm looking over the stats. I'm how did Mekhi Becton do? I find myself he's been just so stellar. He's been one of the only positives for this team. This team has been bad. This team's been I don't know what's a good word of saying it. The team's an eyesore. Becton's not. The Jets have looked horrible. Let's just put it at that. So they play at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Colts are home. 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. The Jets are obviously 11.5-point underdogs. I don't disagree. The over-under is 44. So the Jets, these are their league rankings. Points per game is 31st. Points per game allowed is 24th. Total yards per game is 32nd. Yards per game is 30th. Rush yards per game 31st. Yards per game 20th. Yards per game allowed is 20th. And then the total differential is 9th. So the Jets are dominated in every single category except one. So the Colts dominate every single category. Points per game better. Points per game allowed better. Total yards per game better. Pass yards better. Rush yards better. Yards allowed better. Total differential Jets are higher than them though. So the Jets come into this game heavy underdogs. There's not much to really look at this game and be like the Jets are going to win. I do not have the Jets winning this game. We're thin at wide receiver. Our starting receiving core is Chris Hogan, Braxton Berrios, Josh Malone. That's our starting receiving core. Instead, I wish it would have been Brashad Perryman, Denzel Mims, Jamison Crowder. That looks a lot better than Josh Malone, Chris Hogan, and Braxton Berrios. So receiving core's thin. Our whole team's thin. We don't have any receivers. Our whole team's getting injured. The Colts are healthy pretty much. The Colts, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, T.Y. Hilton, I think could very well turn around his season this game. He struggled the first 2 games of the season, but you also got to realize he's playing against the Jets. Phillip Rivers has played pretty well. Jonathan Taylor, Owele Cox, I think his name is. He's definitely been a solid receiver for them. Our defense has played pretty well. They played played good against the Vikings, but I think all in all, the Jets will lose this game. I just don't foresee the Jets winning at all. I think the Jets get crushed. To really put it in words, I think the Jets get absolutely hammered. I think we lose 35-10. I think we get absolutely hammered. I think we lose 35-10. I think the defense doesn't struggle, but, our offense only puts up 10. I think we lose 35-10. And then 35-10, that would put us at 45, which would put me over the over-under. So I take the over on the over-under. Jets lose 35-10. Our offense is flat. We're only getting worse at the receiving. So I just don't foresee us getting a touch. Our only touchdown, I think, might be late in the game when it's like 2 minutes left and we're getting crushed. I don't foresee the Jets winning this game. I guess he is getting crushed. And the Colts cover easily. They win by 25. So I think the Jets get crushed, and I more than likely find myself sitting here on this podcast on Monday going through another Jets rant. Hope that's not the case. I hope the Jets win 14 games in a row and win the Super Bowl, but I don't foresee that happening. So I foresee the Jets losing. Hopefully my pick is wrong, but I just don't know with the Jets anymore, man. So, Jets, I have them losing. Next up, we have the 49ers and the Giants. The 49ers complaining about MetLife Stadium turf. MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this game is on. 3.5-point favorites are the Niners. Over-under is 41.5. I take the under here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I actually think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I think it's going to be 21-17. Niners win. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I take the under. I think 21-17. Yeah, I take the under. 30. It's going to be I think it's going to be 38. The over/under is 41.5. I'm going to take the under here. And I think the Niners win 21-17, so I think they cover. I think it's going to be a close game, low scoring. Nick Mullins, banged up Niners defense, banged up Niners offense, but then you also got a banged up Giants offense, and the defense has been pretty well this season, but still. The defense has been pretty solid, but still, the Giants are banged up on offense. No Sterling Shepard, no Saquon Barkley. Those are 2 huge losses. Saquon Barkley, it's not totally not just you lost your best player on offense. Saquon Barkley done and Shepard is out, so they're losing big keys on offense as well. We'll see what Devontae Freeman could do. I think that's one of the interesting to watch in this one of the interesting things to watch in this game is what can Devontae Freeman do? Is he going to have a solid game? What is he going to do? Is he going to be solid? Are we going to see any like Devontae Freeman like what we saw with the Falcons? Not talking about insane Devontae Freeman. Are we going to see anywhere near it? Are we going to see something? Are we going to even see average Devontae Freeman? What are we going to see out of Devontae Freeman? I think that's one of the big things here. I give the Niners the win though. So here are my predictions once again. I have the Colts winning or Jets losing, Giants losing. I have the Falcons winning, Bengals winning, Patriots winning, Rams winning, Steelers winning, Titans winning, Browns winning, Chargers winning, Buccaneers winning, Seahawks winning, Cardinals winning, and the Packers winning. So one more time. The Jets and Giants, I do not have winning, but I do not have them winning either one of them, but obviously you just heard me preview those games. So I have the Falcons winning, Bengals winning, Patriots winning, Rams winning, Steelers winning, Titans winning, Browns winning, Chargers winning, Buccaneers winning, Seahawks winning, Cardinals winning, and the Packers winning. So, actually, I want to see. This is an interesting week. I want to see how many times I picked against the spread. So, that's 1, 2, 3 times. Okay, 3 times I picked against the spread. I thought it was more. I thought I picked against the spread more. There's a lot of teams that come into the games like the 0-2, like the Falcons are 0-2, the Bears are 2-0. Falcons are 3.5-point favorites. Like there's a lot of teams that go into the games that are underdogs that are actually the better record. Raiders, better record, underdogs. Bears, better record, underdogs. Who else? There's really not anything else. But yeah, I find there's a lot of teams that come into the games that are better record and are the underdogs. But yeah, so that Chiefs game on Monday night should be a lot of fun. So enjoy your weekend of football. I'll say that at the end of the pod again. But obviously, those are my game picks for Week 3. It's crazy. Week 3 game picks in the books. Hopefully, they are successful and hopefully they work out for me in a good way. And hopefully, your game picks are successful as well. So that's always good. Hopefully your game picks are successful. Hopefully I have another nice week. Obviously I would love to go 15-1 because I already lost last night's pick. I predicted that wrong, so I'm 0-1. But it would be nice if I could go 15. Well, actually, no. Technically, I want to go 14-2 because I don't want my Jets pick to be correct. But I just don't foresee the Jets winning that game. So I hope the Jets win. So technically, I hope I go 14-2 because I hope that Jets pick is wrong. So hopefully I go 14-2. Hopefully that Jets pick is wrong. But hopefully I can get the majority of my picks correct. That's always what I hope. I hope I can get at least I just try to get above 500. Whether that's 9-7. It's a bad week, but at least I can be finished above 500. It's when you start to get below 500, the 6-10s, the 7-9s. That's when it gets bad. But I think overall, as long as I finish over 500, I'm okay with that. If I finish 8-8, that's not great. But if I can finish 9-7, 10-6, I'll be okay with that. So now let's move into the and this is just breaking news. George Kittle is out. Great. Oh gosh, this is horrible. George Kittle has been ruled out for Sunday's game against the Giants. Oh, man. Now you might be wondering, does that affect my pick? Not really. But that does hurt me in fantasy. So, let's take him out and bring in Zach Ertz. That's not going to be the guaranteed move there. This might be a slight injury halted week. Because let me see. Devontae Adams is questionable. Let's see. Great. So, Adams' hamstring isn't practicing Friday. Just great news. Juju Smith-Schuster, let's see what he's up to. Smith-Schuster sat out practice for the second consecutive day Thursday, Teresa Verley of the Steelers' official site reports. All right, so my fantasy team just took a dump. So here we go. So let's look at this. So I log on to fantasy. Kittle is out. Ertz is now in. Devontae Adams is questionable, and so is Schuster. I've known they've been questionable this whole week, but Adams didn't practice today, and Schuster sat out of practice yesterday. So if they're both out, I'm not winning this week because that means I need to give Allen Robinson a chance, and it's going to be a decision time, either DJ Moore or Robert Woods. Robert Woods playing against the best secondary in the NFL. I probably would go. And McCaffrey's out, so I'd probably have to go with DJ Moore because McCaffrey's out, so they're going to rely on Moore a lot more than McCaffrey because he's out, so they're going to have to rely on their catch there. Let me see. What are receivers out there right now? Are there any good ones? See, I might pick up a receiver. Like, I might pick up, like, Terry McLaurin from the... Yeah, I might pick him up. Like, I might pick him up. I just don't know who I would drop. I probably would pick him up. If it gets to the point where I have to pick him up, I probably would. I would probably drop Robinson and maybe Woods. Robert Woods and maybe Allen Robinson. And then just to pick him up for the week. I don't know who I put in. Do I put in Dallas Goedert or Zach Ertz? You know, that's the real thing. Goddard struggled last week, but so did Ertz. And Jonnu Smith's available, but he's, for some reason, they don't have Jonnu Smith projected any points, which isn't a bad thing, but it's so weird. Like, they don't have him projected any points. Like, they have him at 20. Meanwhile, he's had back-to-back 9-point. He had a 20-week last week and a 9-point his first week and 3 touchdowns so far. Is that because what's his name's back? Is A.J. Brown back? How about Marquise Brown? 9.4. Okay. There's a chance. So if both Adams and Schuster are out, then I'm going to have to make some roster moves. I'm going to have to either drop DJ Moore and Robert Woods or drop Allen Robinson and DJ Moore or Robert Woods. And then pick up... I'd probably drop Allen Robinson because Woods hasn't played that bad. I don't want someone to swoop him up. I'd probably drop Allen Robinson. He's struggled, and DJ Moore. He hasn't struggled, but for this week. And then I'll have to pick up Terry McLaurin, and I probably will skip over Julian Edelman and pick up Marquise Brown. Let's see. Edelman's questionable, too. Edelman knee remain limited at practice Thursday. Awesome. Jeez. So I might be without my top 2 receivers in Adams and Schuster, and I might have to pick up 2 waiver receivers. Because, I mean, I don't have to pick up 2 waiver wire receivers. I just don't know if I want to put in DJ Moore and Robert Woods or Allen Robinson. Just don't know if that's the move. So, anyway, with all that being said, this is my fantasy lineup for this week. It's Aaron Rodgers, Ezekiel Elliott, Chris Carson, Devontae Adams, Juju Smith-Schuster, Zach Ertz, Todd Gurley, Browns defense, Harrison Butker. And my bench is George Kittle because he's out, George Kittle, DJ Moore, David Johnson, Bills defense, Allen Robinson, Robert Woods, and Matt Ryan. I have the Bills defense out. I just think, the Browns. I just realized something. I have Browns defense, and if I pick up Terry McLaurin, So, I just need one of the players to play. I need at least one of them just to play, because I can't have not put 2 of them. But, yeah, so, at the moment, Adams and Schuster are in at receiver. That could very well change, depending on what happens there. So, with all that being said, Adams, Schuster are in. I'm projected 107.4. He's projected 106.4. So, I'm projected to win by 1 point. Hopefully that 107 can live up to the hype. Hopefully I can win by a lot more than just 1, although a win's a win. He's got Wilson, Henry, Gordon, Jones, Thielen, Waller, Diggs, Pittsburgh defense, Greg Zuerlein, benches, Keenan Allen, Drew Brees, Hunter Henry, A.J. Green, Sanders, Hunt, Watson, McCaffrey. And then my bench is obviously Kittle. This is my team one more time. My team one more time is Rodgers, Elliott, Carson, Adams, Schuster, Ertz, Gurley, Browns defense, Harrison Butker. Bench is Kittle, Moore, David Johnson, Bills defense, Robinson, Woods, and Matt Ryan. For my other league, some players you could definitely pick up. If you're in a similar situation like I am, Terry McLaurin's available. Julian Edelman's available. Marquise Brown, I'd probably get Marquise Brown over Julian Edelman. In my league, you could target him. Deontay Johnson last week. He had a good week last week. Don't know if he's going to have another bounce-back week. Marvin Jones Jr. still out there. Devontae Parker played yesterday, but there's still definitely some players that are out there. If you're in a similar situation like I am, where both of your receivers are injured, or questionable, then if you're in a similar situation, you could definitely see what happens with them. And now in my other league, I'm winning 24-0 because James Robinson had a big day yesterday, and I have Watson, Drake, Robinson, who already played, Hill, Evans, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, T.Y. Hilton, Steelers defense, Matt Prater. And my bench is Ertz, Drew Brees, Marvin Jones Jr., Broncos defense, Antonio Gibson, and Joshua Kelly. I'm still debating on if I should put in Joshua Kelly. Many people have Joshua Kelly as being the start of the week. Like, you should start him no matter what. He's boomed the first two weeks of the season, so which means he's exceeded expectations the first 2 weeks of the season. I just don't know if I still want to put him in because I believe Hilton might have a bounce back week. So I guess it really all depends there. So fantasy, this league I'm projected 111, my opponent 104, so hopefully that 111 could also live up to expectations. So that's that league. So that's kind of your quick fantasy update. Start them, sit them, whoever. If you're like I said, if you're in a similar situation like I am, you could use the receivers on your bench. But if you don't completely trust DJ Moore, you don't know what's going to be with Woods. Kupp hasn't been, like I said. I hope that one of them can. Without a doubt, I hope that one of them can, make a move. But I hope that at least one of them's healthy. At least one of them healthy. I hope both is. But if both of them aren't healthy, then there's a problem. If one of them's not healthy and doesn't play, okay. I hope Adams plays. That's what I'm trying to say. If Adams doesn't play, then there's a problem. If Adams plays and Schuster doesn't play, I can deal with that. But if Adams doesn't play, then that's a problem because Adams is better than Schuster. But I just hope both are healthy. So that should be interesting. So hopefully everything goes well with that. And now we move on to the Yankees games. And the Yankees won yesterday. Or the Yankees lost yesterday. Sorry about that. So the Yankees lost yesterday. They lost pretty big. They returned home today. So for their final 3 games of the season. They lost yesterday 4-1. Like I said, sometimes it's tough to win with one run. They had 1 run, 7 hits, no errors. They allowed 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors. Yankees 1 run, 7 hits, no errors. Blue Jays 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors. It's tough to win with 1 run, especially when you scored in the 8th inning. So LeMahieu went 1 for 5, Voit 2 for 5, Hicks 1 for 4 with a run scored and a walk, Stan 0 for 3 with a walk, Torres 0 for 3 with a walk, Urshela 2 for 4 with a RBI, Frazier 1 for 3 with a walk, Higashioka 0 for 3, Sanchez 0 for 1, Gardner 0 for 1 with a walk, Judge 0 for 2. Montgomery pitched 5 1/3, 6 innings, 3 earned, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Ottavino 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Chad Green 1 inning, 1 hit, no earned, 1 walk, no strikeouts. No earned, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Chapman 1 inning, no hits, no earned, no walks, 2 strikeouts. Yankees lose. They moved to 32-25 in the season. I say give them a win tonight against the Marlins. Marlins are still trying to clinch that playoff spot. I say the Yankees win. The Mets in pretty much games that mean absolutely nothing. They played yesterday in games that mean absolutely nothing. They have 2 more games left in the season. They won yesterday 3-2. Mets had 3 runs, 12 hits, no errors. Washington 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. McNeil went 0 for 5. J.D. Davis 2 for 5. Dom Smith 3 for 5. Alonso 1 for 4 with a walk. Nimmo 0 for 0. Cano 2 for 5 with a run scored. Jimenez 0 for 0. Frazier 1 for 4 with a walk. Rosario 0 for 3 with a walk. Heredia 1 for 3 with a walk, or 1 for 4 with a run scored. Chirinos 2 for 4 with a run scored and 3 RBIs. Peterson went 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Wilson 1 inning, no hits, no earned, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Diaz 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 1 strikeout. I'll give the Mets another win tonight. I think they win again. They got 2 more games left in the season, I think, or 3 more games. I think it's a 4-game set. So the Mets season's winding down, but always good to get a win. No matter how you do it, it is always good to get a win. So, So, definitely, not the greatest, situation ever, but obviously at least you did find a way to win, and that's really all that matters, though. So, that's what stinks, and I feel the pain with the Jets. When you're final 3-4 weeks of the season and you're done, it's tough as a fan sometimes because you get happy when you win, but at the same time, you're like, season's over, right? And, it stinks, but I don't feel that way usually with baseball because usually the Yankees are in it, but these games really don't mean much for the Mets, but, at least they're winning and trying to cap off, put the icing on the cake to a struggling season, but at least they can finish it off on a high note. The Lightning, 2-1 up in the series versus the Dallas Stars tonight, Game 4, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I give the Lightning the win tonight. They were dominant in Wednesday's game. I think they'll be dominant again. I think they'll win again tonight. They play tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will predict that game tomorrow. I will come on the podcast on Monday, and I will tell you who I predicted it. I won't lie at all. I will tell you the truth, depending on really how this game goes. Pretty much, if the Lightning win this game, I will more than likely say the Lightning win. If the Stars win, then things get interesting. But, yeah, so Lightning, I say, win this game. Now we move on to the college football slate. College football, by the way, this week I'm just doing ranked teams because as the season gets on, more teams start to play, and it's a lot of picks. So I'm kind of just going to do ranked teams for now on. Just easier and just... I'm not... Just easier, and some of these teams that I'm talking about just, So, this is going to be, here we go. Let's get the end college football. Boom, right there. So, Miami, Florida State plays tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But these are the ranked games. Appalachian State, Campbell. I give Appalachian State the win. Florida, Mississippi. Florida the win. SEC does start this week with a couple good games. Florida wins, I think. Louisiana, Lafayette versus Georgia Southern. I give Louisiana, Lafayette the win. Oklahoma, Kansas State, Oklahoma the win. Kentucky, Auburn. This is one of the big games. Auburn, Kentucky. I give Auburn the win in a close game. Louisville, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I think, actually, yeah, I think Pitt gets the win here. Notre Dame, Wake Forest. I give Notre Dame the win. Or no, that's postponed. My bad. Actually, I don't know. Louisville or Pittsburgh? I'm actually going to say Louisville wins this game. I think Louisville wins. Then we have the UCF East. Actually, I'll say Pittsburgh wins. East Carolina, UCF. I give UCF the win. Army, Cincinnati wins. LSU, Mississippi State, LSU wins. Texas Tech, Texas wins. Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Oklahoma State wins. Georgia, Arkansas, Georgia wins. Alabama, Missouri, Alabama wins. And Tennessee, South Carolina, Tennessee wins. Vanderbilt, Texas A&M wins. Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, Virginia Tech wins. And BYU, Troy, BYU, I think gets the win. And in the big game, the nightcap, ABC college game day at Miami. Big day. Miami, Florida State, big game. Over under 54. Miami 11-point favorites. I give Miami the win here. I think Miami win. I think they win 42-31. 42-31. I take the over on the over-under. I think they win 42-21. I take the over on the over-under. 42-31. I think the over on the over-under. And I think they do cover with the 11-point win. So I give Miami the win. So that will do it for college football. Exciting college football, right? Miami, having a great season so far. Amazing season. So exciting there. And, yeah, another hour, another big hour podcast. Wow. Going to the weekend with a big hour podcast. Alrighty. If I could possibly get this. So, yeah, Yankees are trying to bounce back again. Only 7 hits last game. So, hopefully they can get the win. Today should be fun. So with all that being said, hopefully you enjoy your weekend. Big football weekend again. Baseball also on. Another big weekend of sports. Another big weekend of football. Saturday got all the college football games. Sunday got all the NFL games, which is exciting. So go Jets. Go Miami. Go Jets. Go Yankees. Obviously, hopefully the Jets can turn it around and win. So go Jets. Go Jets, go Yankees, go Miami, all my favorite teams that are playing this weekend. We'll see what the Jets do. So go Jets, and yeah, should be exciting. I'm excited to see what happens with all the NFL games again. NFL seems to be really rolling well with this virus. Knock on wood, cases are good. Okay, meaning good, meaning no positives, all negatives so far, which is very good news. So the NFL is rolling. Week 3 is upon us already. Week 3 is already underway. Sunday, another full slate of games. Should be exciting. Enjoy your football weekend again, people. And I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy your football weekend. Enjoy your weekend. I will see you all back here on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. See you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And, yeah, thanks for watching.